The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
Character has made women's wrestling what it is today.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was a stepping stone. It was just a graduation of what was going to come next.
And which, women's wrestling has taken, on a personal basis, I enjoy women's wrestling much more than I do the men's wrestling,
right.
for sure.
Well, and then when you look, like my mom wrestled in the 50s. So, and when you think that, women in the 50s, she was one of the first ones to actually own her car and be able to travel across the country and had her own money and her own career, and that was really unheard of in the the 50s. I mean, a lot of women were starting to develop into that, but the freedom and the power that you have as a woman, to have those things in your own place to live and be able to travel and come and go as you wanted to, that was pretty cool when you look back. That was my mom, and she was so beautiful. She won like Marilyn Monroe look-alike contest, and very, very athletic. I've got a picture of her where she's got Jack Dempsey on her shoulders and is carrying them. And I had some big shoes to fill up, considering her career also.
Tully Blanchard slaps you right in the face on television. I still, to this day, I watch this thing and it still seems as real as ever. When they came, and by the way, David Crockett's reaction during the whole thing.
Well, did he even know what was going on there? Or did you guys hide that from him? Because that reaction is
really gold. None of that
Well, tell us about the day when you were approached about this behind the scenes. What was your reaction? Wow, this is going to really happen?
Well, actually, we didn't really know. We knew that they had built it up to where Tully and I we'd been together for right at a year. We'd kind of done everything we were going to do. The plan was that I was going to go with Buddy Landell, and Landell was going to work a program with Ric Flair.
Okay.
But Buddy decided to do a bunch of cocaine instead and just
disappeared.
This guy.
So it's another thing that worked in my favor, because that could have been a complete disaster.
Sure.
So they're going to go over it, and Dusty thought, well, if we're not going to go this way, let's do the 180, and I'm going to put Doll with me. And
let me put myself over. I got a better idea.
But it worked out. It worked out, though.
Yeah.
So we were kind of going over, kind of the idea of what we were going to go through, and we had the plane ticket to Puerto Rico, and I had been gone for a little bit, and JJ, they were going to put JJ with Tully, so we had the premise of the promo going on, but everything that we talked about, there was no script, there was no going over it, there was no pre-rehearsal, the whole thing, it happened. So there was no lineup, magic.
All JJ had to do was admit that, that gave it a ticket. And so,
right, and we went from there. And when you listen to the tone of my voice, I actually sound like someone that's in a relationship defending themselves over something that she didn't do and had nothing and had no clue of what was going on. It's just like, you gave me the ticket where you didn't expect me to go to Puerto Rico if you gave me the
right.
So it worked out. It truly did.
How about when you grabbed Dusty's leg?
That was all me.
Was that just improv? Because that's amazing. You're wrapping around his leg like, oh, protect me, oh mighty warrior.
The whole
mighty
thing,
warrior
the
with
whole
the big
thing
belly.
From that, Dusty had said he wanted to be like King Kong and Fay Ray.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a perfect, Fay Ray would hold on to King Kong, protecting them from the horrible airplanes and the whole thing. So, yeah.
Wow.
The whole was kind of crazy when I think about it. And looking at wrestling now, because now whenever they do promos, they have a script, and they have to follow the script. Basically, they told us a town and what time we were going to be there and our opponent, and whatever we did at that time. There was no, okay, we're going to say this, and this is what we want you to get over. There was nothing like that. We just had the basic idea, and we went down that path.
Why do you think they're so afraid today to let the wrestlers breathe and have that freedom of creativity on the fly? Why?
Because sometimes there's some really bad promos.
Okay.
And they just want to cover their bases. They want everything to be 100% instead of 95%.
But then on the other hand, you have like they got SummerSlam tomorrow, and I think Lynch and Charlotte are gonna have at it. They're gonna be, and I mean that's a hot.
Oh, and I had horrible promos too, so I can see where they would want to do that. So, I mean, you want 100%, and you don't want to take a chance on things, and they want the control over it, and they've got a lot of money going into that character. So,
How about Ric Flair? Did you ever see him give a bad promo? Because you know his stuff wasn't scripted.
no, 100% all the time. Now he basically had the same promo. You know, he had like probably 4 different promos that he did, and kind of went
funny.
you know,
That is
the
funny. That's
different
funny.
directions. But they were all good. You know, they
Right.
were all good.
Right.
What's it like? I'm giving them promo 1 tonight. I mean, that's.
I think it just happened. I was always afraid, like with Dusty, because I knew what promo Tully was going to do, because Tully was very straightforward and, you know, just business. Dusty would hint at the sexual stuff sometimes, and okay, where are we going with this? And
Right.
and Flair especially, I was like, oh my gosh, please don't say anything that's going to embarrass my mother, you know, because. And then, like with my character, it almost made it seem like I was sleeping with everybody, and I was the property of everybody.
Well,
and-
that was the.
I know, but and then for me, I went to the hotel and hid and locked the door because I knew I had to drive 400 miles the next day.
Right.
So I knew I had to be sober, and if I drank, then I wasn't like pretty the next day. So
Now, so how did you handle that? Because they, you know,
You
obviously.
Uh,
didn't party with the boys, huh?
I would go down and maybe have 1, maybe 2 drinks, and then it would be like, "Where's Baby Doll? Where did Doll go?" And I would vaporize, and and then I would check in. Under different names, Jamie Bond. Off the James Bond, I
Nice.
would
Jamie
do Jamie
Bond.
Bond to
There you
check
go.
in under, because you could check in under different names at that time. And
Interesting.
I would hide, and there were a couple of times that Flair actually knocked on the door and was like, "Hey, Doll, come out and play, come out and play." And you look through the peephole, and you could tell like he's naked. You can't really see anything, but you can see like the blur. And like,
Right.
I am not going out there for nothing.
So speaking of that, Dark Side of the Ring, they talk about that plane ride from hell and what happened with those stewardess. What was your feelings about that whole thing?
Okay.
Come on now, don't clam up now.
No, I'm not. I'm
She's
just,
getting the shotgun. She's cleaning it.
She's
What are you
cleaning
talking
the-
about?
the way that women acted when the guys came to the building or the hotels, they should do a Dark Side of the Ring on that, because the
Interesting.
women were horrible. Now, how is a guy not supposed to act
Right.
like the whole thing if that's the way he's been encouraged to do for the past 20 years, and nobody has said no?
Right.
I don't. What sexual assault charges has Flair got against him?
No, nothing.
Nothing.
Right.
You know,
Right.
but when has anybody said, "Oh, that's inappropriate"? Never. So this one woman who got paid off for supposedly what happened is all of a sudden offended for something that happened like in 2002. Why hasn't she said anything since then?
Sure.
You know, like all of a sudden you get a camera in her face and it's like, "Oh, I can't believe this happened to me." You were right there.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure that inappropriate things happened, but I don't think that it was as bad as what they made it seem. Thank God, I can swear on a Bible to this day, I never saw Ric Flair naked. So, I mean, if it's something's happening in front of you that you don't want to happen, turn around and go the other way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, don't go, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing this," and "Oh, ha ha ha, ha. Oh, don't do that." You know.
So the
me
wrestling,
a
the
break.
wrestling ring rats are really no different than the rock and roll.
Oh, they were horrible.
groupies.
We were in, I believe it was Jacksonville, Florida. I remember it was Florida. And Flair, we're actually at the bar, like standing at the bar. And Flair's got 6, 7 beautiful girls around him, and they're drinking and
6 or
having.
7. Not 1 or 2.
When Flair says that there were 20,000 women, I could honestly say that the time span that I saw, probably true.
Wow.
So he's got like the girls all around him, and they're drinking and having fun. Well, this absolutely gorgeous, I mean, like model, the whole thing walks in the bar, and it's like all the lights turn on her, the smoke fades, the whole thing, and she saunters up to Flair. She looks at him, and she opens her shirt up. She said, "You like these?"
Just open it up.
Yep, just right there, tatas, the whole thing, and they were beautiful, and I'm like, "Oh my God." And Flair says, "I'll see y'all later," and dipped with her, and that was it. So, yeah, I mean, it was, women would actually lay down in front of him like they were next.
So I guess if you get cake all the time, you want cake all the time, right?
Yep. Who's going to say no?
Uh,
And
Spells that
chocolate
out.
cake is chocolate cake.
Skywalker 567 is asking, are you willing to disclose at the height of your fame your annual salary?
The
Wow.
I think the best was 88,000.
Okay.
It's just not bad. That's good.
Not bad, considering I didn't take a bump.
Damn straight. Yeah.
I'll
I
take that
drove.
now. What are you
The only
talking about?
problem was that they put me with Tully and Flair, and I had to stay at the same place as they did. But I had my room by myself. Now Tully might bunk up with Arn, and then Flair had the suite, which was getting picked up by Crockett. So I was running with the big boys, but I wasn't making big boy money. So that would be my only.
You were
complaint.
such a catalyst. Did you not feel comfortable about saying, hey, I should be getting some more money here?
Okay, when you're making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a week, you're gonna go, oh, this isn't enough. They could find another girl. You know what I'm saying? I had that. Like, if I'm not, what am I gonna complain about? You know,
Right. I get it.
It's I'm living the dream life. I knew this wasn't going to be my career. Although, you know, when I look at it, it could have been my career, but I never saw anything beyond that. I was having a good time. I could shop and go do stuff as much as I wanted to. I got the plane rides. I got get to ride on the private plane. I don't think it would have been appropriate for me to say, oh, this isn't enough. But I look back, I probably could have, but I also would have lost my job because I wasn't appreciative of what they were giving me.
You're a beautiful, intelligent woman. You're with probably the hottest.
From the entrance to the ring, as a lot of them were at one time. It takes you 15 minutes or 20 minutes to get to the ring.
What do you mean?
And then you drop a leg, or an elbow, or something like that.
Oh man, you're beating on Hogan.
Wait a minute, is he picking on Hogan?
He's picking on Hogan a little bit. He's picking on a little Hogan.
Something, Crockett brother. Oh my God!
Here's some. Wait,
I didn't say
Here-
anything.
You're gonna do.
here's something that you don't get enough credit for. I'm gonna play you a quick video, David. This is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. Jimmy, we may get a strike for it. I don't give a shit. because
What?
To me, it's the best thing I've ever seen, and we've known about this a long time. But I'm gonna play it real quick. And David, you got to explain this.
And if you're not running off, if you're running off,
Now, did you know that was coming? Because you look like you were about to tack Tully Blanchard and beat his effing ass.
I did not. I did not know it was coming.
And you were going to beat his ass.
it-
You were going to beat his ass.
When all that stuff, I did. That was what I loved is I did not know any of that stuff was going on. I wanted it to be that way.
you
When
wanted them to shoot on you?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
You masochist. Go on.
No, I didn't want to know the finish. I didn't want to know anything about what was going on.
Organic.
I wanted to call it as it was going on.
All right, but I got to ask you then. When he slaps her, you're going for it. You're like,
Oh,
I'm pissed. But then J.J. Dillon pulls you aside. Is he whispering in your ear? It's work, brother. It's a work. Take it easy. Take it easy.
He's calming me down.
he's got yeah.
Now, David, were you also the one that took that clothesline from Nikita Cole?
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, Keita, here's something. Keita,
Ric Flair to the rescue.
Yeah, this is Nikita signed it. This is when he nails me.
He signed it.
Yeah. He said that was his happiest moment
Oh
in
boy.
wrestling.
But I got to tell you, David, this is just another example on how great you were. I mean, look, we all talk about Gordon Soley back in the day and what a great announcer he was. But the things that you added were incredible.
What? All right. The thing is, I was not an announcer. I was not.
You
Tony Schiavone, Gordon Soley, Jim Ross, they are announcers. I was not. I wasn't meant to announce. I was not. That wasn't really what I was wanted to be or wanted to do. I ended up doing that because Jimmy and I flipped a coin. Really, God's truth. Jimmy and I flipped a coin. We had Truck and Tom Miller, who was the announcer for our show, he and Bob Kohler were announcing in Raleigh, and he showed up drunk. So Jimmy and I look at each other and we go, oh, shit. Somebody's got to announce. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. All right. So how are we going to do this?
Oh, after all of those yups and oh boys. Oh
yeah.
boy. Unbelievable. Now hold on though.
We flipped a coin.
Okay. Well, I do take umbrage. You were an announcer to me because you made the call for one of the great all-time matches, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't it the I Quit match with Magnum TA and Tully?
Oh.
That's like Starcade. That's one of the most brutal and iconic bouts in wrestling history. And you announced that. What were your thoughts on both those guys? First of all, TA and Tully.
It was a nightmare, a bloody, gory, physical torture. I mean, they beat the holy shit out of each other. I mean, really. I mean, here are two professional, Tully Blanchard, and Magnum TA. Every match they had against each other, they gave 120%, 150%. They held nothing back, nothing. They pounded each other. Whether it was I Quit, 90 minutes, hour, strap match, cage match, you name it, they did it 24/7. The fans got everything and more. And the fans need to applaud anytime they see that. If they see it on tape, they need to say, thank you very much, Tully Blanchard and Terry Allen.
What
Really.
do you think? What do you think when you look at today's product? If you do look at today's product, do you see any traces? Because if you look, you'll find. I think there are traces of what made your promotions so great back